There once was a beggar who lived at a railway station in a city. He would make a living by begging from the passengers on the trains. One day, while he was begging, he saw a tall man dressed in a suit. He thought, "This guy looks really rich. If I beg from him, he'll definitely give me a good amount." So he went up to the tall man and started to beg. The man saw the beggar and said, "You are always just taking. Do you ever give anything to anyone?" The beggar replied, "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I'm always asking people for things. I'm not in a position to give anything to anyone." The tall man said, "If you can't give anything to anyone, then you have no right to ask either. I'm a businessman, and I believe in transactions. I can only give you something in return if you have something to offer me." After saying this, the man got on the train and left. The beggar was left to ponder what the man had said. The man's words had a deep impact on him. He started thinking that maybe he didn't get a lot of money because he couldn't give anything in return. But he was a beggar, he had nothing to give. He wondered, how long can I just keep taking from people without giving anything back? After a lot of thought, the beggar decided that from now on, whoever gave him something, he would also give them something in return. But now he was stuck with another question: what could a beggar possibly give in return for money? 2 days passed, and he still couldn't find an answer. On the third day, as he was sitting near the station, he noticed some flowers blooming on the plants nearby. He thought, why don't I give people some flowers in exchange for their alms? He liked the idea and picked some of the flowers. Now, whenever he begged on the train, if someone gave him money, he would give them a few flowers in return. People happily took the flowers. The beggar started picking flowers every day and giving them out in exchange for money. Within a few days, he noticed that a lot more people were giving him money. He would pick all the flowers he could find near the station, and as long as he had flowers to give, he would get a lot of alms. But when he ran out of flowers, no one would give him money. This went on every day. One day, while he was begging, he saw the same tall man on the train, the one who had inspired him to give out flowers. He immediately went up to him and begged, "Today I have some flowers to give you. Please give me some alms, and I will give you some flowers in return." The tall man gave him some money, and the beggar gave him some flowers. The tall man was very pleased. He said, "Wow, this is great. Today you become a merchant just like me." Saying this, the tall man took the flowers and got off at his station. But once again, the man's words struck a chord with the beggar. He kept thinking about what the tall man had said and felt a surge of happiness. His eyes began to sparkle. It was as if he had found the key to success, a way to change his life. He immediately got off the train, looked up at the sky, and shouted excitedly, "I'm not a beggar. I'm a merchant. I can become rich too." People who saw him thought he had gone crazy. The next day, the beggar was nowhere to be seen at the station. But 6 months later, 2 men in suits were traveling on the same train. They saw each other, and one of them shook the other's hand and said, "Do you recognize me?" The other man said, "No, I don't think so. I believe this is our first time meeting." The first man said, "No, try to remember. This is our 3rd time meeting." The second man was puzzled and said, "I don't recall. When did we meet the first 2 times?" The first man smiled and said, "We met twice before on this very train. I'm that beggar. The first time, you showed me what I should be doing with my life, and the second time, you told me who I really was." The second man smiled and looked surprised. "Oh, I remember now. You're that beggar I refused to give money to, and then later, I bought some flowers from you. But where are you going in that suit, and what are you doing these days?" The first man said, "Yes, I was that beggar. But today, I'm a big-time flower merchant, and I'm traveling to another city for business." After a pause, he continued, "The first time we met, you taught me the rule of nature: you only get something when you give something. This rule of give and take really works. I felt it very deeply. But I always saw myself as just a beggar. I never thought beyond that. When we met the second time, you told me that I had become a merchant. That's when I understood that I was no longer a beggar but a merchant. I realized why people were giving me so much money. They weren't giving me alms, they were paying for the flowers. They were buying my flowers because they couldn't get them any cheaper. In their eyes, I was a small merchant, but in my own eyes, I was still a beggar. When you told me, it hit me that I was a small merchant. I took the money I had earned selling flowers on the train and used it to buy a lot of flowers, and I became a flower merchant. People here love flowers, and their love for them has made me a successful flower merchant today. Both merchants were happy. They got off the train together at the station and walked on, talking about their businesses. This story teaches us a lot. The tall merchant in the story knew the law of give and take very well. All the world's most successful merchants and business people use this rule to succeed. He shared this formula with the beggar, who adopted this natural law, and the results were clear in his life. He changed his mindset, and his life changed. This story tells us that if we change our mindset, we can achieve anything. If we keep thinking of ourselves as small, we will always remain small. To become big, we have to change our mindset and think big about ourselves. The essence of the story is that success is hidden in your thoughts. Raise your self-respect, think big, and see how you reach the peak of success.